On Tech Today, we have a very special guest here at the Business Today Most Powerful Women Awards. I'm joined by Tarun Khanna of Harvard Business School. Sir, what a pleasure to have you on the show.
Nice to be with you, Ayush. Yeah.
Mr. Khanna, I want to start off by asking you about the biggest buzzword in the world of tech, which happens to be artificial intelligence. More importantly, generative artificial intelligence. And we have the usual suspect, ChatGPT, and maybe what big tech is doing and Google is doing with Bard as well. Some are seeing these as disruptors of the workforce, of society at large, changing everything in terms of how we approach work, how we approach so many things like school, education, and of course, there's this whole argument about the ethics of AI as well. How do you see it as an academic and as someone who understands the tech world better than most?
So, first of all, it is a buzzword, you're right, but I think it's more than that. I do think it's a pretty foundational change. Of course, the promise that's being delivered by generative AI is something that researchers have been after for a decade, maybe more. So its possibility was recognized. Now with better computing power and better models, it's being actualized for the first time. And you see this, I have all my students basically typing in my name and saying, introduce Tarun Khanna in the form of a rap song. And you get a pretty cool rap song. So there's some pretty crazy stuff that's going on. And I think it's a lot of fun. The first thing I would say particularly to, young people or people who are tech aficionados is don't be afraid of the tech. I mean, embrace it in some ways because the change is coming whether you like it or not. And it is going to be, like any form of change, unnerving. But you're a lot better approaching it with a positive attitude than an attitude that, oh my goodness, this is going to upend my life.
In terms of a lot of young people, especially Indians who moved to the US recently, and what's happening with what the world's calling a tech winter, I'd imagine a psychological and a financial safety net is required. And more importantly, when we talk about why we have gotten ourselves in such a situation, Professor, what lessons can be learned in terms of how big tech scaled up too fast perhaps in the US, and what is the ramification that we are seeing right now? What lessons can we learn from this particular instance?
So first, let me say that we should keep some perspective about what's happening now, about this so-called tech winter. I would distinguish, how would I say it, systemic trends from cyclical trends. The cyclicality here is basically over-exuberance followed by correction. Okay? The secular trend is one of really dramatic expansion of the technological revolution. And by technological, I mean scientific. I don't just mean IT computing and cloud computing. I mean quantum computing. I mean 3D robotics. I mean genome sequencing. I mean the space economy. I mean additive manufacturing. I mean exploration of the ocean floor. Those tech genies have left the bottle, and they're out there. That has not changed. There's no tech winner when you think about the systemic progress of tech. The tech winner is in the excess exuberance of the financial economy pouring money into certain things that they were excited about at the time, propelled by COVID, sensibly in some instances, and over-exuberantly in others. And that's the human condition. That's what we do. We get overexcited and we egg each other on. Now we're just correcting for that. And you're right, it's going to create distress. It's creating distress in some of my ventures. But we will ride it out. And that's what I mean by having both the financial safety net and the psychological safety net to still be smiling every morning as you go through it and you wait for the end of it. But the knowledge that the cyclicality is obviously up and down, as the term suggests, but the secular trend really hasn't changed. In fact, the amount of technological knowledge that's being added is, I don't know whether it's doubling every year or every other year, but it's something extraordinary, and it's an explosion of stuff.
It's getting better all the time.
It's getting explosive, more explosive all the time.